Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at these 7 games. 7 short game reviews coming up. Here we go. Well, okay, no singing. Let's get started. First, we have Sherlock in Time. So this is such a weird theming for a game because this is Sherlock going through time. I guess maybe this is part of a series or something, but also it's Sherlock in Japan. And Sherlock's not even in the game. I think you're Sherlock. It's just it's basically just a way to have a deduction game set in Spain, I suppose. Here's how it plays. In this game, each player is going to be given several of these clue cards. Each clue card is going to show you one different type of area. So here we have the cherry blossom trees and the bridge shown there. There's 3 different areas. It shows a suspect. There's 5 different suspects. And then it shows something, an item. So there's 3 items, although you can play with 4 items, and you just add the cards with that symbol to the game. So everyone's going to draw a certain number of these cards, but one of the cards, when you draw it, you have facing everybody else. Everyone else can see it, and you can't. This is your solution card. And what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to pick another one of your cards from your hand, show it to everybody else. They're going to compare it to your solution card and see how many matches there are. In this case, there's 0, so they'll put it here. And then maybe later on, you'll play another card. I don't know why you'd play that one. But let's say you did play this one, and they said 1. Well, then you know, since this is 0, that this is on your card. At the end of your turn, you can guess, if you want to, your exact card. If you're wrong, you're eliminated. If you're right, then you get points equal to basically the number of your solution and also how many players played that round. And you keep track of points here. You can also take a dishonorable shortcut where you can use this card once per game to say, do I have the Jade Dragon? And people will say yes or no. But if you do flip your card, you'll lose ties at the end of the game. You'll do this for 3 rounds. You'll get a new card each round, play through, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game is the winner. Yeah, that's it. Basically, very, very simple deduction game. I like it. It's an interesting game because there's only one combination of each of the items that are out there. And so if someone plays a card as a clue, or you see a card in their hand, you have more information. Going first is not really an advantage because as more and more cards get laid out, I can narrow it down to 2 cards and go, well, there's one of the 2 cards on the table that I narrowed it down to, so therefore it is this one. It's fine. It's simple. The expansion makes it a little bit more meaty. And then there's a really weird little Watson in Time expansion that came in this that has player powers that take that. It's nonsensical. I don't get it at all. If you want to play a really light deduction game, I found this one amusing for a time or two. But I wouldn't buy it because I think it's going to be the same thing over and over again. So it's fine. I'd give this one a 6 out of 10. Sherlock in Time. Weird theme. Geronimooo. Okay, look, I said this before and people pointed out that a bunch of O's is not necessarily ooh, it just is Geronimooo. And it's about lemmings who actually don't jump off cliffs, but who cares about that? In this game, you are a secret lemming and you're trying to be the first one to the finish line, like this. In this game, each player is going to get a lemming and it's secret, so that's the lemming you want to win. The lemmings are placed here. It even comes with a zombie lemming if you would like to play with 5 players. That has a few extra rules. You're going to deal the rest of this deck. You're going to place a deck out here with every other card face up. It's a row of 12. I have them in 2 rows of 6 just for camera purposes here. And on your turn, you play a card. This card will let you move a lemming. So this lets me move the brown lemming 2. He lands here. That means the pink lemming moves 3. 1, 2, 3. He lands here, which is this, which means the brown lemming moves 2. 1, 2. Now you can't play another. Each lemming can only activate 1 card. Now let's say somebody plays, there's also minus cards in the game too, but let's say someone plays a card, let's say a yellow 3, and they go 1, 2, 3, they can't land here, they can't land here, so they go here. And then this one here says yellow 2. Well, how nice is that? And that's going to be the game. The first lemming to get to the end is the winner. There are special cards that let you move cards around, or let you give a card from your hand to someone else's hand, or switch positions of the lemmings in line. But that's the game. Yeah, that's basically the game. And here's the thing. This game is short. So I'll give it that, a really short game. It's easy to play. I think adding the extra zombie lemming is such a weird weird theme to throw in here and then adding some extra rules. Just add a 5th player, but whatever. It's the problem with this game is it's just too chaotic. You could say, well, it's fun and your things, and yes, I'll grant that. I'll grant that you can laugh and stuff as you play, but you're trying to play cards to move your lemming farther ahead, and you could try to plan something out. I'll move the yellow here, which makes the pink move here, which makes the brown move here. But then other players are going to go and just mess everything up. There's no sense hiding your gerbil. Just make your gerbil do well. Because if someone has a negative card to play against your gerbil, they're going to do it anyway, regardless if it's yours or not. So it's a fine game maybe for kids, but I didn't even hold their attention that much. This one I'd give a 5 out of 10. And also it's in a tin. Boo! Stop making tins. Anyway, Geronimooo! Red Hot Silly Peppers. Yes, yes. I got a feeling here about this game. It says speed matching game, and yes, indeed, that's what it is. There's a lot of these games out there. Turn things over, flip them. Let's see how this one's different. In this game, each player gets 12 cards face down, and on your turn, you're going to turn the top card over and put it in a face-up pile next to you. And you're looking, as each player does that, to see if any of these conditions has been met. So what are the conditions? Well, we have 5 of the same pepper, which is currently not out there. You can see there's 4 of the purples. This one is all 6 peppers. Well, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of the peppers are out there. And this one is exactly 2 pairs. So I have 2 greens, but there's 4 of the string beans and 4 of those. So then I turn over the next card. Okay. Now, later on, some of you are going to be like, there was definitely a moment where there was something and I didn't see it, which is very possible. There's 4 oranges here, 4 purples, there's 2 yellows and 2 greens. See a pair and a pair. So I slap this card. If that happens, I'll take one of the discard piles, so let's say it's this one that was involved, and stick it under my draw pile. And I'm trying to be the last one with cards to win. If multiple things happen at the same time, this one wins. 6 peppers beats 5 peppers beats 4 peppers. And that's the game. Ho. So there you go, folks. And when I said, let's see how this one's different, the answer to that is, it's not. It's the same as all these other games. Man, I would like this game more if it was something different. I'll give it a 6 because it's not necessarily a bad game. But, it's such a weird thing for me to keep playing the same game over and over again. Jungle Speed is the most famous of this genre. This one here, I mean, I really feel like this game started with the name. They're like Red Hot Silly Peppers, and now let's just flip cards over and steal them. Is no one tired of this genre? Between Holly Golly and Jungle Speed, there's already some decent games out there with this. We don't need another one. Freaky Frogs from Outer Space. Freaky Frogs from Outer Space. Such a weird title for this game. This is from Friedman Free, so big surprise there. He always has his game starts with F, and they're always green. And this one is a pinball game. Now, there's not a lot of pinball games out there. Jeff Engelstein made a roll and write pinball game, but pinball is a pretty hard thing to bring in the board games or card games because pinball is a speed thing. You're just constantly moving. Pinball's amazing, by the way. I love pinball, but this game, this here is yet another experiment he's trying to do because it's really difficult to do that. So let's take a look at how this plays. In this game, you're essentially playing on this pinball table, although this poster here is just for reference, and you could even use the back if you need to see just the very specific stuff that matters to you while playing. And other than that, there's quite a few rules in the game. I'm not going to go over everything, but essentially the ball shoots out up here and then starts bouncing down. And you'll play cards. You'll have a hand of cards. You'll play these cards and draw new ones. So I can play this one. The G lights up now. And now it's going to bounce downward. So I might have it hit this pinball next. And I'm replacing these cards. But I have to be careful because 3 of these cards can make me lose the ball unless I have flippers and things to protect myself at the bottom. Or having both the right lane or left lane done. There is an auto-save down here feature that once you can kind of protect yourself, but there's going to be a lot of luck in the game. Sometimes it just falls out, and sometimes you get it going. You can even get a multi-ball into play, and you'll get bonuses for lighting up all the letters, for lighting up ray gun on the side. And you'll see there's all sorts of different cards in here that work with very specific targets. So you're playing cards and just trying to keep the ball up as long as you can and score as many points. The game does not give out a lot of points unless you get whole things done. You can see the multipliers here go up considerably, and you're going to keep track of each ball that you play, especially if you get that extra ball, or you can even get lucky and get multi-ball, having multiple balls in play. You have this token here where you can light up all the different bonuses that this will give you as time goes by. There's not a lot more in how to play because this is kind of a game that you would actually have to play to really learn. It's kind of a weird one to feel out. And I just want to talk about how the game makes me feel. I know, that wasn't a great explanation because like I said, you got to kind of learn to play it. I mean, it is one of those things you're like, okay, I played this card, so now I can do this, I drew this, I can do this. But once you do it, you're like, da, 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 and you're playing cards. And it's like pinball. Here's the thing, it really is like pinball. It's fast, it's furious. There's not a ton of skill in the game. You're just kind of playing cards and hoping you do well. And when I was done, I was like, okay, that worked. Good job, Friedman Freeze. Your experiment worked. I can't fault you for what you've done here. But do I need to play it? Do I need this? I could just play pinball. You're like, well, yeah, but this is a small box. Yeah, I know, but I could still play pinball. I can play a pinball simulator on my iPad. And you could be like, that's not real pinball. Well, neither is this. And that's the thing. I think this is a cool experiment. It is a solo game. And props that it comes across okay. I just can't imagine any situation where I would rather play this than play actual pinball. And you say, well, what about the other pinball game, Jeff Engelstein's pinball game? And that's because I feel like that one is more closer to a roll and write where you're trying to do various things. And it feels like pinball, but it's also a roll and write game. This one is just like pinball. And so it's only like pinball, which again, applause, but also it's not a great game per se. So I don't know what to give this one as a rating. So I'll stick with a 6. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just don't want to play it anymore. Alphabet Stoop. So Alphabet Stoop is a game about delivering letters, delivering packages. It's also a word game, but slightly unusual one. Let me show you. You're going to put out a line of houses depending on the number of players. I have it set up for a 2-player game. Each player is going to have 3 different people that are full of packages. These packages are 2-sided letters that you'll have in front of you. On your turn, you have 3 actions. An action can be to move one of your people to an adjacent spot, so you can be moving them around the board, or they can drop off a package. So I might drop off this W. It has to form a word. Fortunately, there's an E here. Wee! Yay. I could spend another action maybe to drop off B and now make web. And you can rearrange the letters as long as you can make a word. And if you get to a spot where there's a stamp thing and you make a word there, and by the way, these magazines are wild, then you can put one of your stamps in that spot. Some spots like this one here if you make a 5-letter word, you get letters. Letters are also given to players who don't get to go first, and you can use those as wild. But basically, at the end of the game, if you dropped off all your packages, you win, or if you get 9 victory points. So victory points are you having stamps here, 2 if they're on 7-letter word cards, and that's how you win the game. Okay, well, props to Alphabet Stoop for really, really nice components. Less props for them with their rules being so succinct. I think they could have explained things a whole lot better. But that being said, the game isn't particularly complex. You're moving around, you're making very small words. First person to get rid of their packages wins. So it mixes efficiency with making words. It's just not that great at either of them. There's lots of efficiency games out there. There's lots of word games out there. This one I'm making small words. You're trying to get rid of your letters first or get the 9 points. For every spot you have a word at is worth a point. Every stamp is worth an extra point. And I've seen the point way win. I've seen them both win about the same, I think. And it's fine. I don't think it's for kids necessarily. I don't think the word making is going to be really attractive to people who like to do word games. There's a lot of word games out there. And this we're making mostly small words. Good for us with a smaller vocabulary. But, yeah, I don't know. This one just didn't appeal to me. But at the same time, I thought it was okay. I think it's a decent game. I'll give it another 6. So that's Alphabet Stoop. Havalandi is a new game from Reiner Knizia, and it's about air balloons. And I've never ridden an air balloon, and I'm actually kind of sad about that. Maybe someday when my kids are gone, me and my wife will go for a ride in an air balloon. I think it's a neat idea. And so in this game, you're flying around in air balloons, and forget the theme because that doesn't matter anymore. But there's a cool air balloon in this game. Let's go look. In this game, players are moving a balloon around the board. On your turn, you're going to roll a die, a 6-sided die, and that's how many spaces you will move the balloon. After you move the balloon, you'll then look at the 2 paths. So this one here goes this path and this path. If it's on the board here, at the end of the board is kind of 1 space, and so you have these 2 long paths. But once you have it there, you can place this on any empty spot on either path, one of your balloons. Or, if you already have a balloon there, you can kind of go in the same territory. You're trying to make groups of balloons, because if you get a group of 3 balloons, you score 3 points. If you grow that group to 4, you get 4 points. So that's one way to get points. You're also going to get points by making fleets of balloons. So when you have balloons and one of them's on the gravel path, you can turn all those balloons over, launch them, and you're going to score points based on the number of different areas that you're touching. So if you're just touching one of the groups or just 2 of the groups, you're going to score just a few points. And the rules aren't particularly clear about this, but it's 4, 8, and 12 for the number of different groups you're in. You also get 3 points whenever you put a balloon next to one of these spots, and at the end of the game, you'll get 7 points if you've connected to all of them. Also at the end of the game, you'll evaluate these 2 scoring cards, which are randomly selected. This one says connect 2 sides together, and you'll get 1 point for each balloon that does so. Whoever has the most points wins. There's also some special balloons that will let you do things like maybe go to a spot someone else is in. And the board has 2 sides, and they have some slightly different scoring rules on both of the sides. And that's how you play. Okay, so Havalandi, however you say this, feels like an older game, like a game that came out in the 90s. And I want to be clear, I'm not saying that in any sense of all. I'm actually looking at that as a negative thing. Come on, what is with this game? It's roll and move, first of all. You're rolling a die, moving the balloon around. And so you want to put these balloons in certain spots, but you're kind of stuck with wherever the balloon goes. You got 2 rows. Okay, fine. Then this game has really confusing terminology, looking for fleets and groups. And the fleets score points that they didn't bother printing on the board. It's very abstract. You're putting them out, and Reiner Knizia does a lot of abstract games. I like Through the Desert. I like, his Babylonia and Tigris and Euphrates and things like that. They feel like they've meat on their bones. This one just feels so obtuse and boring. You roll the die, you look down at things, you say, okay, I'll make a group here. I'll make a fleet here and get points. Also, I need to look at the ways to score there. Okay. Oh, you've blocked me. Okay, great. It's just boring. Boring. I give this one a 5. It looks nice, and it's easy to play, but this is like a trip to nostalgia that no one asked for. This is like an old game that isn't very, very fun. Now, lest you think all my reviews are negative, here's a positive review of Hey, That's My Fish. This is a 2,452nd printing of it. That's not true, but it might be the 10th printing or so of it from Next Move Game. Hey, That's My Fish has moved from company to company to company, and there's a reason for that. It's a successful game, and people want to print it. This is easily the nicest printing of Hey, That's My Fish. Not a surprise. Next Move makes some really good stuff. Let's take a look. If you've never played it before, here's how it plays. This version of the game has some nice blue trays that hold all the tiles, and you'll just randomly place these tiles out. Tiles have 1 to 2, 3 fish on them. And then players will place out a certain number of penguins. You'll have more penguins if you play with fewer players. So players are going to all have their penguins on top of a 1 fish they'll choose at the beginning of the game. On a player's turn, they take any of their penguins and they move it as far as they want in a straight line. So I could just do this. Can't go through another penguin. Then you'll take the fish tile that you have. This is worth a point because it has 1 fish on it. So maybe it's a purple fish's turn. So the purple fish will go here and take this. The yellow fish will go here and take this. The blue fish, everyone wants the 3-point fishes. Now it's back to the orange player. And so perhaps the orange player will do this, which means essentially first of all, they got 3 points, but they've now blocked this purple fish. The purple player still has to go on their turn, so maybe they will move here, because you can move either penguin. and then the yellow player moves here. And what you're trying not to do is get trapped onto a spot where you have no penguins. See, once the orange goes here, the purple player can no longer move. And this 3 fish tile they went on, they're never going to get. And when all the players can't move, the game is over. You simply count the number of fish that you have, and whoever has the most is the winner. Hey, That's My Fish is a very fun game that a lot of people like because it's very easy to play. It plays very quickly, and it has that whole idea of cutthroatness. And while some people don't necessarily like cutthroatness, it's so short it doesn't really matter in this game. I'm just trying to grab big fish and also zoom around to put you in a little island. Or, if I'm clever, zoom around to put myself on a big island that nobody else is on, and then I just go around and collect fish, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. And I like that. It's always been a good game. I give this one a 7. It's an enjoyable game. I think that there are other games that may be more meatier for me, but I think this one works fantastic. This is a game that's instantly going in the Dice Tower library because I think it's one that a lot of people will enjoy. If people haven't played many games before, this is a great game for your first time one, and this production is off the charts. I'm changing my rating to an 8 because that production, it's really, really nice. So, it does look like a big gummy fish though. Remember when gummy fish were a penny? Sorry, old manning there. Hey, That's My Fish. Best game in a while and best version of this one. Best game of this genre anyway. And it's also the best game of all of these. So there's a lot of different games here. What do you think? I'm sure you have different opinions. Let me know in the comments. I'm Tom Vasel, and this has been 7 really quick game reviews. We'll see you next time.